Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. This is Brother Warrior, and it's my channel Rise Up Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, and I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world will call Jesus Christ. Right? But today I'd like to go through a quick video through the Spirit. Little one's edifying, but I'll do a quick video going over fake friends and, trusting the wrong people. You don't want to always put yourself in a position where you're trusting people that may not be good for you. You know what I'm saying? Quickly making a bunch of best friends and things of that nature, right? But then again, please understand that friendship and companionship is a very important thing, and I love things in the eyes of the Most High God. You just have to be very careful with how you handle yourself, right? So with that, I'm going to grab the book of Psalms, chapter 133, from the top. And it says this, a song of degrees of David. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. I mean, it's a beautiful thing for brothers to dwell together in unity, for brothers to come together and unite. That is a beautiful thing in the eyes of the Lord. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard that went down to the skirts of his garment. Right? So it's a beautiful thing for brethren to dwell together in righteousness. You know what I'm saying? Not for a wicked thing, but for a righteous thing. But not only is it like that for men, it's also like that for companionship with a man, between a man and a woman. That's another beautiful thing in the eyes of the Lord, right? So let's go to Sirach, chapter 25, in verse 1. It says this: in three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful, both before God and men. The unity of brethren, like I just told you, that's a beautiful thing. Unity is beautiful in the eyes of the Lord, right? The love of neighbors as in the children of your kindred, love of the children of Israel, loving each other, that is another beautiful thing in the eyes of the Lord and men. And a man and a wife that agree together, right? So when a man and a woman come together and they're in agreement, that is a beautiful thing in the eyes of the Lord. And pretty much everybody wins. The husband wins, the wife wins, the children win, the Most High God is happy. So unity is a beautiful thing in the eyes of the Lord, and that's something we should always establish, or want to establish in our life, a good relationship. But how do you have a good relationship without, dealing with heartbreak and dealing with being backstabbed, right? And I'm gonna show you when you go to the book of Sirach, chapter 6 and 7, and it says this. Salakia. I'm going to start at verse 1. I'm going to grab from the top real quick. I'm going to jump to verse 7. Instead of a friend, become not an enemy, for thereby thou shalt inherit in their name, shame and reproach. Even so shall a sinner that hath a double tongue. So, pretty much, instead of trying to be everybody's friend, you know what I'm saying? Of course, yeah, it's beautiful. Unity is beautiful, but don't always try to be everybody's friend. Don't always try to be the cool guy. Don't always try to be the Mr. Nice Guy. Don't always try to be, people, one, it comes off phony. But two, it puts you in a position to get taken advantage of, and then your heart becomes bitter. You see what I'm saying? A lot of sisters may jump into a relationship with a brother that may not, benefit them at all. Same thing vice versa with men with women. Same thing vice versa with women and women that are friends, that may meet a new girl that's a friend and they're cool. Little do you know that she's talking about you behind your back. You got to try your friend and prove her, right? And we're going to read that in verse 7. All right, so verse 7, Sirach 6 and 7. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first and be not hasty to credit him. Don't be so hasty to credit a friend. Whether that's a dude, whether that's a woman, whether that's whoever, a coworker, prove whoever you talk to. You may want to tell your coworker that about the truth. Make sure that's the right person to tell. Because if you tell the wrong person, they're going to go on and tell the boss. Or they're going to go and tell somebody else. And they may not be able to keep a secret. They may not be able to do things. Next to you're jammed up for something that could have been easily avoided. right? And be not hasty to credit him. Don't just give anybody enough credit. They have to earn your respect in regards to how much you can trust this person, right? Earn your trust, right? Verse 8. For some man is a friend for his own occasion and will not abide in the day of trouble. You'll see friends that are only your friend because you're doing good or because you can provide a certain service to them if they may need in that specific position or situation. You know what I'm saying? You may be in a class with a person that's just really cool with you because you're good at math, things of that nature. So pretty much understand that there are some friends that are only going to be a friend to benefit themselves, right? And there's a friend who, being turned to enmity and strife, will discover that reproach. So you got friends that'll backbite you, that'll start saying bad things about you, even after y'all have a little fallout or falling away. It's like, you don't. Some people are never your friends at the beginning, from the start, right? Again, some friend is a companion at the table and will not continue in the day of affliction. Exactly. You may be on bad times, and that person that you might have been there for wasn't there for you, nor could they even care less. When they up and it's stuck. Meaning they don't care nothing about what you got going on. That's really how they always thought. You know what I'm saying? But because they've always been low, you never could see that. See what I'm saying? So you got to really prove a friend to see what type of individual you are. To see what type of individual they are. Right? Let me see. But in thy prosperity he will be as thyself, and will be bold over thy servants. If thou be brought low, he will be against thee, and will hide himself from thy face. And there's so many people that go through that. So many friends have been friends for 20 years, 30 years, 10 years, known them all their life. And when one is down and the other is up, you see them trying to build their brother or their sister up. But when the roles are switched, they hide themselves from thy face, like the scripture says. So that's why the scripture tells you to separate thyself from thine enemies. Salakia. Separate thyself from thine enemies and take heed of thy friends. Separate yourself from people like that and take heed of the friends you have to make sure they're not actually an enemy. Right? A faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that hath found such in one hath found a treasure. Right? So you want to keep a faithful friend. A faithful friend when you're down and out and you need their help and they don't have to help you and they do, that's the friend you want to keep in your life, right? So let's keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because these things, these are found, being a terrible friend is something that don't nobody like. You don't want a friend that moves weird and that, is constantly accustomed to backbiting or not being there for you or not having your best interest at heart. See what I'm saying? So let's keep going. Let's go to stay in Sirach. A lot of these verses are in Sirach. Most of, my precepts, that I have out is written in Sirach because there's a lot of wisdom here. So Sirach chapter 28, we can start at verse 13. And it says this: Curse the whisperer and the double tongue, for such have destroyed many that were at peace. See what I'm saying? Let me read that again. Curse the whisperer and the double-tongued, for such have destroyed many that are at peace. See, there's so many people that have gotten people killed, sisters that have gotten brothers killed, brothers that have gotten themselves killed, because they are a talebearer and they talk in a way that is going to provoke other people that may not have been there to do an action that might hurt somebody, that may, get somebody hurt. Right? You see this all throughout our community, with people saying things, whispering things, and rumors get spread, and all type of wickedness is going about, and the end thereof is death. Right? Verse 14: A backbiting tongue hath disquieted many, and driven them from nation to nation. Strong cities hath it poured down and overthrown the houses of great men. Right? A backbiting tongue has cast out virtuous women and deprived them of their labors. So it cast out the righteous. It cast out righteous women. And a backbiting tongue is something that you see prominent, especially in the Israelite community, especially among women. Just always backbone, always drama, and that's stuff that even our sisters want to avoid, right? Verse 16: Whoso hearkeneth unto it shall never find rest, and never dwell quietly. And you don't want to live in a household where you're constantly it's constant drama over and over again. So you don't want to hearken into a backbiting type of spirit, because it's always going to be drama. There's always going to be rumors, always going to be wickedness, always going to be all manner of folly. These things you want to avoid this in your life, right? So let's keep going. Let's go to Psalm 27, 16. And it says this: Whoso discovereth secrets loses his credit, and shall never find friend to his mind. Right? So a person that discovers secrets, nobody's going to trust you. Nobody's going to want to be a friend if they know that you're the person that tell people secrets, that go about, being a snake, a proverbial snake. That's exactly what that is. A person that's sneaky, doing things behind people's back, slithering and then stinging at the last end. Right? Verse 17: Love thy friend, and he be faithful unto and be faithful unto him. But if thou betrayest his secrets, follow no more after him. Meaning, if you tell your best friend's secrets, if you do this, leave him alone after that, because it's over. That friendship, if he's a man of understanding, he needs to get away from you. He needs to run away from you. If you with somebody that just tells you secrets and don't respect don't respect the oath or a vow or something that you made with this person, saying that you weren't going to say anything and keeping a secret, and then they go and tell other people, man, a man of understanding is going to wipe that person's name out their mind, right? For as a man hath destroyed his enemy, so hast thou lost the love of thy neighbor, right? And you're supposed to love your neighbor, right? Scripture tells you you're supposed to love your neighbor, and you doing that takes the love out of your relationship with your neighbor. And you telling another person's secrets, things that they told you that they didn't want anybody else to know, you doing that, man, is going to ruin a relationship, right? Let's keep going. Verse 19: As one that letteth a bird go out of his hand, so hast thou let thy neighbor go, and shall not get him again. Exactly, man. Just like when you let a bird, just how unlikely it is for you to catch a bird that's flying once you've already let it go. Same way with a friend that you've backstabbed. There's no more friendship for you. It's over with, right? Verse 20: Follow after him no more, for he is too far off. He is as a roe escaped out of the snare. So again, you can understand this on double fold, right? You can understand this from a way of a person backstabbing you and you backstabbing a person. If you backstab a person, leave that person alone, because you've proven not to be a trustworthy person and an individual that person should not be around. Don't burden yourself with that person and continue that relationship. Same way, vice versa. If you may have a friendship with a brother or sister, and you notice this person has backstabbed you, I'm not saying you gotta hate your brother, hate your neighbor, which you can't, because that's a sin. But get away from that person, because if they're willing to do that to you and tell your secrets, who knows what else they're willing to do? Stay away from them. You just never know what you can trust a person like that with, right? As for a wound, as for a wound, it may be bound up, and after reviling there may be reconcilement, but he that betrayeth secrets is without hope. So yeah, like, you might get a gash, you might get stabbed, you might cut your hand open, person might get shot. At least after these crazy gashes and ailments, a person can heal. But if you betray somebody's secrets, you're without hope. that healing is much more difficult than that of a flesh wound, right? So again, you gotta stay away from people like that, right? And you in that same way, you gotta do your best not to be that person, right? Verse 22. He that winketh with his eyes worketh evil, and he that knoweth him will depart from him. Like I told you, person that winks his eyes, the person is constantly is one of those, you know, shiesty individuals that, are untrustworthy. You see what I'm saying? Always looking in to get in trouble. Always seeing what's going on with everybody else's business. You want to stay away from people like that, right? Verse 23. When thou art present, he will speak sweetly and will admire thy words, but at the last he will writhe his mouth and slander thy sayings. That is a backstabber, a wicked individual. That when you're talking, they may be cool with you, but and I've met people like this. When you're talking to them, they're cool with you, and then once you leave, they get to talking about you. There's so many brothers and sisters in this truth and in the world that are like that you should stay away from, and you should aspire not to be like. Right? Verse 24. I have hated many things, but nothing like him, for the Lord will hate him. The Most High God hates an individual like that. The Most High God hates a man that, oh man, a double-tongued individual, a two-faced person, that can say one thing to you and mean something else and then go and talk behind your back. Even the Most High God hates that individual. So that should kind of give you a motivation to not be like that and to avoid people like that, to keep all types of manners of strife and wickedness out your life, right? But not only is it shown in Sirach, it's also shown in the law. You cannot be around a person that is a busybody or is constantly talking about stuff that doesn't matter to them, because that's how a lot of people get hurt, a lot of people get killed. Just imagine how many deaths happen in our community because a sister might have been saying something that the wrong person might have found out about, and now her brother's dead, or now her boyfriend's dead. You know what I'm saying? Or now she's dead. You see what I'm saying? So many things, so many ways you can avoid this. These are one of the chiefest sins in our in the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American community. Right? This is Leviticus chapter 19 and 16. It says this: Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of your neighbor, thy neighbor. I am the Lord. So you don't want to go up and down as a talebearer. That's something you want to constantly. You want to avoid that. You want to avoid being a person that's constantly out there telling tales or going at he said, she said type of spirit. That is a very wicked and off spirit, right? And real quick, when you go into the Strong's Concordance, it tells you this is H7400 talebearer, Rakil, and it says a scandal mongerer as traveling about, a slanderer, talebearer, informer, like an informant from Satan, telling wicked tales. So you want to stay away from something like this. This is a sin. This is off, and it's something that you don't want to have to see or have to deal with, right? But let's keep going. So, you don't want to do these things to your people. You don't want to do this to your brother, to your sisters. You know what I'm saying? Especially those of your nations. Right? So let's go to Sirach chapter 7 and 12. And it says this: Devise not a lie against thy brother, neither do the like to thy friend. Right? Use not to make any manner of a lie, for the custom thereof is not good. See that? It's not a good custom to lie to your own brother, to your people. It is not a good custom. It's something that should be constantly and always avoided in the Israelite community. You should always avoid such things. And you should also stay away from people that are accustomed to lying, right? So we can jump to chapter 20 and 24, and it says this: a lie is a foul blot in a man, yet it is continually in the mouth of the untaught, right? A thief is better than a man that is accustomed to lie. So a thief, a person that steals from people, is better than a habitual liar. And a lot of these things, these come from the mouth, these come from the tongue. Saying certain things, a lot of times you got to watch your mouth and watch the certain things that you say around certain people, right? But they both should have destruction to heritage, right? Let's keep reading. The disposition of a liar is dishonorable, and his shame is ever with him. So you need to stay away from a liar. You need to stay away from these people, because it's often is wicked, right? Let's grab two more precepts. This is Sirach 37:7. It says this: every counselor extolleth counsel, but there is some that counseleth for himself. So just like a friend, a counselor also is a person that you just can't trust. A person that may be a mentor, that may say things to you, that may give you advice. They don't always give you advice according to what benefits you. They may give you advice according to how they want the situation to go. Beware of a counselor, and know therefore what need he hath, for he will counsel thee, right? For he will counsel for himself, lest he cast a lot upon thee, and say unto thee, thy way is good, and afterward he stand on the other side to see what shall befall thee. Whew. You got to stay away from people like that, right? But what's the moral of all this, right? What's the moral of everything that we're saying? Pretty much, although you should aspire to congregate and meet brothers and sisters and to grow in this truth and friends and get the love of the congregation and such. Don't be a fool. Don't be foolish. Don't be stupid. Don't put yourself in a position to where you're found taken advantage of because you just think everybody is just completely upright and amazing and good for you. You see what I'm saying? So this is Micah chapter 7:5, and it says this: trust ye not a friend, put ye not confidence in a guide. Keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. Right? So we got to understand that we have to continue to not just give everybody our trust. Don't trust everybody. You know what I'm saying? Don't put confidence in just anybody. And don't open the doors of your mouth to just anybody as well. And it says to keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. What is that? It's saying some things you might not even need to tell your woman. And that even talks about that in Sirach. Where it said, Sirach 37, it says that don't ask a woman of things pertaining to what she's jealous of. So certain things for men not to even tell their wives certain things. You see what I'm saying? Obviously in righteousness, of course. Let's keep reading. For the son dishonoreth the father, the daughter rises up against her mother, the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the enemies of his own house. So your own enemy could be somebody of your own nation, of your own household. You have to always be aware of that and keep that in mind when you're going throughout this truth. See what I'm saying? But again, you still want to be optimistic about, finding brothers to congregate with, finding new friends in this truth, things of that nature. Just keep an eye open, right? But with that, I would like to give all honor and glory to the Most High God Yahweh, by Hashem, Hamashiach Malak Yahushai. Lord willing, this edifying video through the Spirit. Lord willing, everybody is getting stronger in this truth, continuing to grow and get your house in order, that you might be ready for the second coming of who the world will call Christ, whose real name is Yahweh Shai, who's going to redeem the children of Israel and bring us back to our own land. Let me grab a precept on that real quick. Let's go to Ezekiel 37 and verse 21. It says this: and say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. The Most High God is going to bring us back into our own land. So that's the time that we're looking forward to, that we got to continue to kill off that old man so that we can be found out blemish at the coming of who the world will call Christ, right? And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king over them. That's talking about who the world will call Christ. And they shall be no more two kingdoms, because initially the kingdom was split, right? Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols. And that's what we shouldn't be doing now. We should not be defiling ourselves with idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. Let's jump to verse 28, and it says this. And the heathen shall know that I, the Lord, do sanctify Israel, and my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. So it's going to come a time where even the heathen, they're going to know that the Most High God has separated us from these nations. That has not happened yet. The Most High is going to separate us from all these other nations, so we must stand strong and make sure our faith is right, so it's found in the praise, honor, and glory at the coming of who the world will call Christ. But with that, I'd like to give you a strong, to bid everybody a strong shalom. Kwam Yasharallah, shalom.